Welcome back to Couch Talk, everybody. Today I'm here to talk about Christopher Robin, the new movie centered on Christopher Robin from Winnie the Pooh. This movie is directed by Mark Forster, who also did Quantum of Solace, and he did World War Z, and he did another Disney-inspired movie called Finding Neverland with Johnny Depp. It stars Ewan McGregor, better known as Obi-Wan, and Haley Atwell, who's Peggy Carter from Marvel Cinematic Universe, and Jim Cummings does the voice of Pooh, and God, does he... You would never know the difference. This guy is Winnie the Pooh. Like, his voice is so perfect compared to the original voice actor that did him. This movie was spectacular, in my opinion. I'm really surprised that this movie doesn't have higher ratings on Rotten Tomatoes. I'm going to explain why I love this movie, and then I'm going to try and break down why I think that some people don't. This movie is following the formula of Hook, which, for those of you who don't know, Hook is a movie with Robin Williams where he's Peter Pan. And this is following the same formula in the essence of, it's about the central character that we know and love, Christopher Robin or Pan, growing up and forgetting about his childhood, and like forgetting about all the fun he had, and it's about how life gets in the way, and you get so many responsibilities, and you forget that sometimes you need to just take a step back and breathe and appreciate the things that you have all around you, rather than just focusing on work. This isn't just a movie about Winnie the Pooh, but it's a movie that's also trying to be a reminder for people to stop taking life so seriously. I work 6 days a week. And it's very hard for me to find time to, do things that I want to do, let alone spend time with the people I care about. And, it's easy to sit there and say, like, oh, well, I'm saving money, or I'm trying to, work more hours for more money, or I'm trying to do this, I'm trying to do that. And then you get home from work and you still concentrate on work by sitting there and, like, thinking about, like, planning out your next day. And there's a scene in the movie, it's a scene in the trailer where Haley Atwell, Ewan McGregor's wife, Christopher Robin's wife, says, your life is happening before your eyes, because he says, like, I'm working so much now so that in the future I don't have to. But then she, says the point, it's like, by the time you finish working, your kid's going to be all grown up and you're going to miss out on their life. And that is, like, the moral of this story, Pooh coming back to Christopher Robin kind of snaps him out of his day-to-day, like, go to work, come home, focus more on work and ignore your family. And it's about spending more time with the people you care about, and it's the same thing with Hook. It's about taking a step back and taking a breather. And I think the reason why I don't blame this movie for kind of following the Hook formula is because it's not just a copy. I think that you need a movie like this once a decade just to remind you to take a step back and breathe, because it's been years since Hook has came out, and I, off the top of my head, can't think of any movies this blockbuster big that comes to theaters with this message. And I think once a decade we should get a movie like this, and what better way to do it than Winnie the Pooh? I think the movie started off a little slow, but not in a bad way. I think it needed to establish how much Christopher Robin has changed since his adventures in the 100-Acre Wood when he was a child. I think it really needs to show you what his life was like at this point, and how far down the rabbit hole he was, and how broken his family was because he's just concentrating on work and using the fact that he's trying to better their lives as an excuse to keep ignoring them. And like I said, it's not just a Winnie the Pooh movie. This movie it's a portrayal of us. Ewan McGregor is playing us. He's playing you. He's playing me. He's playing all of us, and he's playing the character. He's playing the part of ourselves that, put aside the people we love and ignore them for what we think is important. And as much as work is important, there's nothing more important than family and loved one and friends, and that's what this movie really drives home. Now, let me get into some of the reasons why I think there are some people that don't like this movie. I think that this movie is targeting a certain demographic. I think that people that are much older, like old people, aren't really going to like this movie as much as our generation would. Because, like, even my mom, I remember when I was watching Winnie the Pooh growing up, she never sat down and watched it. It was just a stupid movie about a teddy bear to her, or a stupid TV show about a teddy bear to her. And little kids, although I think they'd enjoy it more than much older people, I think it's hard for those little kids to get on board with this because they don't have the novelty of this in their blood. They didn't grow up with Winnie the Pooh. So they're coming into this movie as just being a kids movie, and it doesn't really get going until the second half of the movie. So for the first hour, they're sitting there pretty bored because this movie doesn't gain momentum into the second half. Because like I said, the first half is it setting up the fact that his life is so miserable. And it's not like I remember when I was growing up, the first couple of Star Wars movies came out before my time. But even as I was growing up, they were still pumping out Star Wars movies, so I was growing up around the hype of how big they were. So I went and I rewatched them all, and then I got on the train of being hyped. But these kids these days didn't grow up with Winnie the Pooh, so there's not a lot of hype behind this except for that middle generation, mine, that grew up watching Winnie the Pooh. So I think that the best reviews are coming from the people that can appreciate the little things that people that haven't really been accustomed to Winnie the Pooh can. When you hear that famous song, the Winnie the Pooh song, kids don't understand the significance of that, and neither do really old people. And the whole honey thing, and just all of Pooh's little jokes, and his personality, and all the little the balloon and the lake, or the lazy river that you always see ER floating on. My girlfriend didn't watch it. She didn't understand how monumental that was to see ER floating down that river, and the table that they all eat at. So unfortunately, it's not reaching a worldwide demographic of success. But I think that's okay. I don't think they made this movie with the intention of making sequels. I think they made it to do exactly what it set out to do, and that's deliver a message and tell people that sometimes it's okay to be a kid again. It's really a shame because I heard they're not releasing this movie in China because the resistance of the Chinese government, the leader, his name is Xi Jinping, I believe. I can't pronounce his name. It's X-I Jinping or something like that, or Jinping. They use the symbol of Winnie the Pooh as their resistance symbol. So the Chinese government banned it because it's just not a good enough. It's not a good time to release a movie that's kind of the symbol of the resistance of China. So it's politics. It's stupid politics, which really sucks because I think this the whole world needs this. This is a worldwide message of telling people to take a step back and breathe, and it's okay to have some fun and play again and stop stressing about work and everything and just pay attention to the family. I was thoroughly entertained through and through. I thought Ewan McGregor gave an outstanding performance. He's just so charismatic and so charming. And Pooh is just so adorable and so cute. And he's exactly how I remembered them, including all the other people from the 100 Acre Wood, like Piglet, Eeyore, the owl, the kangaroos. They're just all they're all there, and they all give their game. And yes, the movie is not super colorful, but that's because it's trying to relate to the message of the dark and gloominess of the world. There's a part in the movie where Pooh says the only time it's sunny in the 100 Acre Woods is when Christopher Robin comes to play. And really it's a metaphor for the world seems so gloomy when you're always stressed and freaking out, and then it only gets better when you unwind and relax and have a good time. And it's these metaphors that little kids aren't going to get, and that older people don't care because they're past the point of stress. They're retired and stuff like that. But us right now, we're in our prime. We're working a lot to get to that point where we don't have to be stressed anymore, and sometimes we do forget to take a break. And this movie, it made me cry twice, and I'm not ashamed to admit that. There's a really powerful scene where Pooh and Ewan McGregor, Christopher Robin's character, have a strong connection on a log, and it's just such a slap in the face of nostalgia. And I just never thought I'd see this again before my eyes, and I really commend the director and the writer of this. I don't think it's a perfect movie because, as a critic, a perfect movie would be one that appeals to all audiences, but to me, it was as good as it can be when it's only targeting 1/3 of the world, if that makes any sense. I'm going to give this movie a 9. I think that anyone that works either at a job or at a hobby or something, or does anything to the point where they get stressed, should go and see this movie. It's a very powerful message. It's a good message. It's a very kid-friendly movie. It's a fun family. And they made it not only is it a kid movie, but it's perfect for adults too, because the message really is for adults. So anyway, let me know what you think down in the comments below. Do you want to see Winnie the Pooh? Are you interested? Has this review helped change your mind about whether you want to see it or not? I hope so. Leave a comment down below, like, and subscribe. Anyway, catch you later.